All right, guys, welcome back. So we're going to kind of divide into two sections. One is starting a business. Another one is buying a business. Both are totally viable ways of going down this path, but they are different. They involve different kind of considerations and different skill sets. So let's talk first about starting a business. These are the basics that you have to figure out, right? We talked about mindset, your why. What do you want your life to look like? Building a business around the life that you want so you don't actually become a slave to your business. That happens all the time. Here's some of the mechanics that go into the fundamentals of a business working, right? The fundamental piece of a business is money, okay? Is revenue. If there is no revenue, there is no business. Businesses fail for all types of reasons. Oh, market timing or product market fit, blah, blah, blah. The main reason businesses go out of business is because they don't drive revenue. That's it. So there might be some problems, different problems that cause that, but ultimately they are not selling things. Okay. If you don't sell things, you will not last. So you have to sell. You have to sell something to somebody. They have to buy it, right? We talked about this before. Find a problem, provide a solution that people are willing to pay for. That's it. Those are the kind of the basic formula. So you have to think about, who are you going to serve? Okay. What problem is it that you can solve? Now, this might be something that you uniquely are able to solve, right? This might be in a knowledge-based business. This might be something that you are going to consult or coach or teach, okay? It might be a service that you provide, like, hey, somebody needs this thing done, I'm going to do that thing. It could be a product that fulfills a certain need, okay? It could be a product, whatever, right? It could be a software product. It could be a physical product, like I don't know. I mean, you think about anything that's sold on the stores, right? You could clothes, any type of product, toy, a journal. It literally could be anything. Okay. You think about, who do you want to serve, and how are you going to serve them? So think through your skill sets, right? Think through things that you're interested in, that maybe you have a unique ability in, a unique perspective on, something that other people don't have, and something that other people need or want, okay? And then you have to think about, is this something they will buy, and will it be worth it at the price that they will pay for it? Okay, there could be a lot of great ideas out there, but ultimately people won't buy it, or they won't pay enough for it that it makes sense to operate as a business, okay? Your expenses are too high relative to your income. And then we got to talk about time commitment, okay? What time are you putting into this? How much is it going to take to actually get going? If it's a physical product, that takes time to create. There are startup costs that go involved in that, right? You have to get a prototype, which takes a lot of work to get to a prototype. If there's patents involved, you have to do patents. Once you get the prototype in, then you have to line up logistics of, product creation, and then you have to think about shipping and all of these different things. A lot of those things come in advance of actually doing anything, right? Like, you got to create the product. Not always, but you do need to start with something. If it's a knowledge-based business, like this is right now, this course, part of my business is knowledge-based. Okay. When I work one-on-one with clients, my service is I create customized financial plans, looking at all these areas that I'm teaching in this course: taxes and cash flow and retirement and different investment types, etc. That's my service. I create a plan. That's my deliverable. I coach them on how to implement it. I help them make sure the plan fits with their lifestyle. This is a slightly different iteration of that, where I'm teaching you how to put all the pieces together so you can do it for yourself and create your own plan. This is still a knowledge-based business, though. It's based on all of my knowledge, all of my experience, and I'm putting it in a package, whether it's a customized plan or a course that helps you create a customized plan for yourself. Okay. This is a knowledge-based business. So if that's the case for you, you might have some knowledge that other people don't have or want. And it doesn't really have to be about anything necessarily important, right? Or significant. If you have knowledge that other people want, that's it. It could be about how to wash windows. I don't know. And you teach people how to wash windows. I mean, there's literally thousands of ideas out there. So it really, really, really could be anything. You just have to factor in the time to start up. Time for my knowledge-based business, I could start up instantly, right? Like it's all in here. So I can immediately go and start marketing my service. I do financial plans, and there you go. I can get a customer on day one and be able to deliver, right? If it's a software you're building, it's going to take time to build the software, right? Test it out, do the beta, make adjustments, all that stuff. Okay, so you have to understand what kind of time commitment is involved upfront, and then time ongoing. How much time do you need to put into the business to get it to where you want to be and to sustain it consistently? How much time is it? What does that look like? Are you able to do that, or are you not able to do that, right? Do you need more people? Can you just do it on your own? Do you want more people so you can delegate to? Do you need different expertises? Okay. And then startup capital is another one. Now, again, we always hear the startups that are raising millions of money and millions of dollars in funding, right? They do a seed round and a round A and B. They're raising all this money. That's what really dominates the headlines in the startup culture. And that's what most people think of, like, oh, I got to go raise millions of dollars and build out some super innovative product. You just don't. Okay. You don't need that at all. Okay. That's one type of business, one very specific, very sexy type of business that people talk about all the time, unicorns and all that stuff. That's a very small percentage of businesses. Okay. So startup capital, you might need a lot, you might need a little, you might need nothing at all. When I started my business, I didn't need to put in very much capital to get going. What I did is I had some reserves in case I wasn't able to generate revenue. I had some reserves I could fund our living expenses off of until revenue got kicked up into gear and started coming in, right? So basically my startup capital was survival capital, so to speak. I looked at my survival ratio. And I said, okay, here we go. How much do we have? And how long can we last without any revenue? Okay, that's my time frame. And I got to get working. And then revenue kicked in, and I was using less and less of that savings, like that set aside money. And then after a while, I wasn't using any of it. And then after a while, I was putting more money into it and generating enough revenue to cover expenses, plus start putting some to to work in other ways. So you might need a lot, might need a little, might need none. It all depends on the type of business and the speed with which you want to pursue that business and the speed of growth and all that type of thing. Okay. So this is not a business course necessarily, right? There are a lot of great people out there that can teach you how to build a specific type of business, but this is more about principles, about what you need to be thinking about and kind of some of the main factors that come into this. Now, with time, I want to jump back to time and startup capital. We're going to talk about side hustles here in a minute in one of the next videos here. But you don't also necessarily need a lot of startup time. Part of the big risk is, well, I've got to quit my job and then start a business. The vast majority of businesses you could start without quitting your job, okay? And you can get them going and see if it's viable. See if it's something that you want to put time into or if it's not, right? You get to work out those kinks without the pressure of having to supplement your income. You have your income from your job and you use side time to do it. So we'll talk about that in the side hustle part. But you don't necessarily need a lot of time. You don't need a 40-hour work week to get a startup off the ground, generally speaking. You could do it in a couple hours a week and really start to build some serious momentum. And the same with startup capital. Yeah, you could have a lot, but you also don't need to. There's so many ways to go about it by bootstrapping a lot of it. And so it just varies depending on the business. I'm just trying to open up your eyes here to see that these things that sometimes are barriers are not barriers. But you got to figure out who you want to serve if you're going to enjoy serving that type of a person with that type of a problem, what problem you uniquely can solve for these people, and then how much they are willing to pay for it and if that's worth it to you. If it's not worth it to you, then you don't do it. If it is, then you do. Pretty straightforward. All right, that wraps up this video. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Your dreams matter. Keep showing up for them.